For the millions of Americans who work a 9-to-5 job, it's not Thursday or Friday that's the best day of the week. No, the best day of the week is payday. But sadly, many people make critical mistakes when that special day comes around, and mismanaging your paycheck is one of the reasons why so many Americans are currently living paycheck to paycheck. Luckily, boss, in this video, I will share with you exactly what you should do as soon as you get paid. And if you're new to the channel, then hit the subscribe button below for more life-changing content. I'll be the first to admit that getting paid feels absolutely great, but unfortunately many people simply have no idea what to do with their money when they receive it. And as you probably guessed, without a plan, this more often than not leads to the money being spent on frivolous items. But even with a budget in place, proper spending can be tough. According to a new poll, Americans admit to spending $7,429.24 over their budget every year. In fact, the research found that while only 3 in 4 Americans, or 74%, said that they have some type of budget, 79% of those still have troubles keeping themselves within their own parameters, despite their best efforts. Sadly, over half of those polled say they even have a meticulously planned out budget, but still, Americans spend $142.87 over budget each and every week. Altogether, the average weekly budget of those polled equates to $197.31. But that number, it turns out, is optimistic at best. In reality, Americans surveyed spend closer to $340.18 every week, which explains why only 10% of the survey respondents were able to say that they think sticking to a budget is easy. While Americans are clearly overspending each and every month, another problem is what they are spending their money on. The average adult in the United States spends $1,497 a month on non-essential items, according to a recent study. All told, that's roughly $18,000 a year on things we can all do without. And that's a lot of money, considering the extent to which Americans are letting their savings and other crucial goals fall by the wayside. The top 3 non-essential expenses that are crippling the savings efforts of Americans include eating out at restaurants, buying drinks, and ordering takeout. As you can see, there is a lot of progress that can be made when it comes to the management of money in the United States, and one of the first steps to better financial health is having a reliable plan that you can use when you get paid. Given that many people either don't have a budget in place or don't find the one they use effective, I want to start from scratch when explaining exactly how you should allocate your money when you get paid. And later in this video, I will go over 3 money management tricks I use every month to ensure I hit my money goals. When you get paid, it is important to allocate your money towards the different types of financial commitments you have. And one method I recommend people use is the percentage model. If you're unfamiliar with the percentage model, it is essentially a breakdown of where your income should be allocated on a monthly basis. The percentage model is split into 4 categories: saving, variable expenses, fixed expenses, and housing. While housing is usually a fixed expense, given that it makes up a significant portion of the average person's total monthly expenses, I find it beneficial for it to have its own category in the model. Now, in order to use this money management tool properly, you need to understand what costs should be incorporated into each of the 4 categories. So let's first start with savings. Your savings category will include contributing to your savings or investment account, paying down debt, or supplementing your emergency fund until you've achieved anywhere from 6 months to a year's worth of a reserve of living expenses. As you will see, this category makes up the smallest proportion of your income allocation. However, it is by far the most important. You see, the other 3 categories require you to expend money on items that will keep you afloat on a day-to-day basis. But money allocated to your savings category helps you improve your financial situation by reducing interest payments or helping your wealth grow by investing more money into your investing portfolio. The next category includes your variable expenses, and this can include anything from food and drinks, gas, and clothing. Now, as I already mentioned, Americans spend a lot of money on non-essential items, and this is the category that is responsible for these unneeded purchases. As a result, it is imperative to stick to the amount you've set up for yourself when spending money on this category every single month. The third category are your fixed expenses, and this includes things like your car payment, utilities bill, and life insurance. As you can tell by the name, these are the types of expenses that don't vary much by month, which certainly helps when keeping the money spent on these items under control. The final category in this percentage model is housing. For the majority of people, this cost exists in the form of either a rent or mortgage payment, and while you would think this expense would be hard to mismanage, The mistake actually takes place before you ever spend a single dollar on this type of expense. You see, so many people take on a more expensive apartment or bigger home than they need, which can then leave them cash-strapped trying to afford the monthly payments. But just how bad has the situation gotten over time? Studies suggest that the median footage of a new home is now 2,687 square feet, which is an increase of nearly 1,000 square feet in the last 4 decades. On the flip side, the average household size, meaning the number of people living in the home, has actually decreased from 3.01 persons per household 40 years ago to 2.54 today. This is all to say that there is a lot of space being wasted, which ultimately means wasted money. Now that you have a good grasp on the 4 categories of the percentage model, you need to know how much of your after-tax income to allocate to each of them every single month. The model I recommend is the following. 15% will be put towards savings, 30% towards variable costs, 30% towards fixed expenses, and finally 25% towards housing. Now these percentages may vary over time depending on your money goals, but for someone just starting out in their journey to better financial health, these percentages will work for the majority of people. From my personal experience, using the percentage model is a reliable way to ensure you make progress towards your financial goals each and every month, but I will admit that it does take quite a bit of ongoing effort. For me, this effort meant spending less time making money, which is why after using the percentage model for a while, I decided to hack the system to make it as hands-off as possible. Here are 3 ways I made this money management technique nearly effortless. Step 1. Open up the right accounts. The first step in simplifying the percentage model and automating your financial management process is opening up the right accounts. When using this model, most people will operate out of a single checking or savings account, but doing so only adds to the effort you will have to spend on a monthly basis to make the strategy work. Besides the standard checking and savings accounts where you store money you want to save, you will want to open an emergency fund, a debt repayment account, and an investing account so that all the elements in your savings category are covered. Number 2, set up automated deductions. In the United States, 82% of workers are paid via direct deposit, and if you make up this majority, then you are definitely able to leverage the power of automated deductions. To be frank, one of the best things I have ever done for my finances was setting up automated deductions for my pay with my employer. In essence, what these deductions allow me to do is divide up my paycheck and send portions of it into their respective accounts. When I initially set up this process, I allocated 5% of my after-tax income to my savings account, 5% to my investment account, and 5% to my emergency fund. Now, as I have earned more money and have fully funded my emergency fund, I now split that 15% between my savings and investment account. And once you begin to employ this technique in your own financial management plan, you will realize that over time you will need to allocate your income where your money can be best used. Now, I think this automation technique works for so many people for 2 main reasons. First, it allows you to pinpoint exactly how much you want to save and invest. As long as you set up the deduction percentage properly, you can rest assured that you will be putting the correct amount of money into the respective accounts every month. Second, using automated deductions removes the need to constantly think about your finances, and in my case, allowed me to focus on other important things like improving my skills in order to make more money. So in order to streamline part of your finances, you should definitely be leveraging the power of automated deductions. Number 3, automate bill and credit card payments. Paying bills is a drag, but trying to remember to make timely payments only further adds to the pain. As such, you should also use the power of automation to ensure your housing, variable, and fixed expenses get paid in full and on time. Now, there are 2 ways you can set up automated bill and credit card payments. The first is to have creditors automatically draw out the bill balance every month from either your checking or savings account. Since you probably already have one of these 2 accounts open, all it will take is a few calls to your service providers and the withdrawals will start on their own. The second option is to open up a bank account specifically for bills. This approach has both pros and cons. The benefit of this approach is that it makes reviewing the bill amounts easier, since the account has been set up strictly for this type of expense. However, the con is that you can risk going into overdraft and incurring banking fees as a result. You see, if the creditor goes to pull a payment and you don't have adequate funds in that account, your bank will cover the withdrawal amount and then charge you a fee for doing so. This likely won't happen when routing the deduction from your savings account, since that's where a large chunk of your free cash will be, but it doesn't mean that you should forget about using a bill payment account. To mitigate this risk, when you first open your bill payment account, put in 1 to 2 times your normal monthly expense amount in said account, while also ensuring that you have set up a regular paycheck deduction with your employer to cover the ongoing withdrawals over time. Once you have these 3 steps in place, adhering to the percentage model becomes 1,000 times easier. But there's one final point that must be discussed when it comes to maximizing the benefit you realize from using this money management technique. One thing you must be aware of is that just because you have set percentages assigned for your 4 spending categories, doesn't mean they can't be adjusted to suit your changing financial goals. For instance, if you can lower your monthly housing costs or eliminate your car payment, there's no need to still spend as much money on that financial category. My recommendation is to funnel as much as you can into the savings category, which can be in the form of savings or investments. Ultimately, the more money you can allocate to this category and reduce the other 3, the better off financially you will be. Thanks for watching. If you want to go from the life you have to the life you deserve, then hit the subscribe button now.